Once we spoke the same language, one tongue, one thought, one purpose. Before borders, before races, before religion divided us, we were one. We built together. We dreamed together. We rose together. And then someone or something decided we had to stop, not because we failed, but because we were succeeding. Because when humanity rises together, it becomes something else, something dangerous. This isn't just about pride. It's about potential. And the day we were divided was the day we got too close to something no one wanted us to reach. The book of Genesis tells us that in the land of Shinar, a unified humanity began to build. Let us make bricks. Let us build a city and a tower whose top may reach into heaven. This wasn't a simple construction project. In the ancient Near East, a tower was a sacred object, a ziggurat, a cosmic mountain, a ladder between the heavens and the earth. To build one wasn't just ambition. It was theology. It was magic. It was a declaration. We are no longer content to remain below. And the key isn't the bricks. It's what they were trying to restore. Before the fall, before the flood, there was something closer to the divine. The Tower of Babel was the echo of that lost state, a collective attempt to climb back. And maybe, for a moment, it worked. The Bible says that God came down to see the tower. If as one people with one language they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan will be impossible for them. This isn't a punishment for idolatry, or violence, or corruption. It's disruption, strategic, precise. The people weren't doing evil. They were unified. And in that unity, they were powerful. The fear was a rebellion. It was success. This was a preemptive strike. Not to stop sin, but to stop ascent. In Eden, knowledge was forbidden. At Babel, unity was. Maybe the two are the same. Because when human beings come together, in voice, in vision, in will, they start to resemble something else, a divine force. And someone decided that force had to be scattered. So how do you stop a civilization that speaks with one voice? You don't kill them. You don't destroy the tower. You confuse them. Come, let us go down and confound their language. In one instant, meaning fractured, words stopped aligning. Thoughts became isolated. And with that fracture came fear, separation, distance. Language is not just communication. It's consciousness. When our words break, our minds break. And when our minds break apart, we forget. Babel wasn't just the loss of a project. It was a loss of memory. Collective identity shattered. Spiritual clarity dimmed. And from that shattering, history began. The idea of a fractured humanity appears in more than just the Bible. In Sumerian texts, the god Enki creates multiple tongues to stop the unification of cities. In Hindu cosmology, the universe begins in divine unity and then shatters into multiplicity. In Greek myth, Prometheus gives humanity fire and is punished for elevating us too far. Over and over again, we see the same arc. Unity, ascent, intervention. It raises the question, are we meant to remain divided? Or are we trying again and again to rebuild what we once were? And each time we do, something tears it down. Look around. We have more ways to connect than ever before. We speak across continents, translate instantly, share images, ideas, dreams. But do we understand each other? Not really. We speak in algorithms, in tribal dialects, in comment wars. We are divided, not just by language, but by interpretation, by narrative, by truth itself. This is Babel 2.0. We are rebuilding the tower, not with bricks, but with bandwidth, not with mortar, but with code. But the pattern remains. Unify too much, and something pushes back. A glitch, a policy, a shadow. Because maybe the danger of Babel wasn't in reaching the heavens. Maybe the danger was in remembering we could. The question no one wants to ask. What was at the top of the tower? Was it the sky, a god, or something older? In esoteric traditions, the tower represents a human spine, the awakening of dormant power, the return of sacred fire. In Kabbalah, the spheroid align like rungs of a ladder. In mystic Christianity, the soul ascends toward divine reunion. Maybe Babel wasn't about height. It was about frequency. Maybe they were aligning themselves with something they remembered but couldn't name. And someone, divine or otherwise, saw what was coming, saw the convergence, and hit reset, not because they hated us, but because they feared us. Because unity is dangerous, not just for rulers, but for the whole system. There are whispers in texts, in visions, in dreams, of a language before Babel, not Hebrew, not Sumerian, not any human tongue, a pure language, a divine vibration, spoken in Eden, sung by angels. Some call it the language of light. Others, the Adam-Kadmon tongue, the primal speech of the unfallen human. It wasn't just sound. It was intent, word, and we were one. In that language, to speak was to shape. To name was to know was to become. And when Babel fell, that language shattered too, into fragments, into symbols, into dialects. But some say it can still be remembered, not through grammar, but through silence, through dream, through music, through resonance. The key is not to learn it, it's to listen. The Bible says God confused the languages. But who exactly is us in let us go down and confuse their language? Some say it's a divine council. Some say it's the Trinity. But others point to a darker possibility. The Watchers, those who once descended, who gave forbidden knowledge, who paid the price for awakening humanity too soon. What if Babel was not rebellion, but recovery? And those who broke it were not stopping evil. They were stopping memory. Because if we ever truly remembered what we were, we'd stop being manageable. We'd stop being afraid. And we'd start building again, not just towers, but ourselves. The most forgotten part of Babel is the silence after. We scattered. We multiplied. We forgot, but not completely. Because somewhere deep inside, beneath our borders, beneath our fears, beneath our divided tongues, the memory still lives. And maybe the real tower was never outside. Maybe the real tower is the one inside you. Your voice, your spine, your ascent to reconnect the fragments, to rebuild the fire, to speak again, not just with sound, but with purpose. They tried to stop us once. Maybe they'll try again. But now we know what's been lost. And maybe this time we climb together, not to take heaven by force, but to remember that we were never meant to be divided.